mandating diversity on Wall Street a step in the right direction, or a quota system that will force firms to hire less qualified applicants? Diana Furchtgott-Roth is the director of the Center for Employment at the Hudson Institute. Pam Bethel is a partner with O'Riordan Bethel, a woman and minority-owned law firm. Good to have both of you with us. We appreciate it.
Good to be with you.
Good to be with you.
So you both heard Eamon say it's unclear exactly what this will mean, but it could mean much more strict requirements or government requirements of who firms can hire. Pam, is there a way to make an argument that this could be a good, smart thing to do?
It's the only way to argue that this is a good, smart thing to do. I thought the discussion whether or not inclusion is a good thing for us in this country, I really thought that discussion was over. That was a pre-1960s discussion. The only discussion I thought that was left was how to do it. Look, this policy of inclusion runs through federal government, contracting, and all other areas. And the reason why the Wall Street and financial services regulatory agencies are now facing this is because they were slow to come to the table. Inclusion is good. How you do it, this does not require quotas, and this is a very positive step for us today to take in terms of making sure that all Americans get to participate in the debate and share ideas. Okay. We know inclusion is good.
All right, Diana.
Well, inclusion is great. I agree with that. But the law of the land right now is anti-discrimination. So if a woman or someone who's black or Hispanic applies to a Wall Street firm or any other firm, then they can't be discriminated against. That's very different from saying that firms, and by the way, it's not just Wall Street firms, it's also their subcontractors, so people who provide food for office parties or document shredding. It's very different to say that they have to have fair inclusion of women and minorities when that could be interpreted as it is in Title IX of sports as proportionality. So what if no Native American has applied to work for Bank of America? Bank of America, under the law as it is written, would be faulted for not having enough Native Americans. Fill in the blank: Pacific Islanders, Hispanics, women, blacks. We've changed the landscape radically by slipping a few pages in this bill. And if we're going to change employment law like this in the United States, what we need to do is make it for everybody.
Pam, we called,
I couldn't disagree with that more.
Okay,
I couldn't disagree with that. I couldn't disagree with that more. Listen, it didn't change the landscape, and there's nothing. The law, in fact, the Act says that whatever this office does in its creation, it has to be in compliance with the laws of the land. It will be. This is not quotas. If you don't have any Pacific Islanders that apply, you will not be chided for not having Pacific Islanders.
Okay, let me ask you this question, though. Let me ask you this question for a second, though, because here's, I think, what a lot of people are worried about. And I want to note we did call all the financial firms, and none of them are commenting right now because they don't seem to understand what this is going to mean. But, Pam, aren't they going to be afraid of getting sued? So if you have two applicants come in, let me just give you the case of what people were telling me today. Two applicants come in, you hire one who maybe in this case is not as qualified, happens to be a woman or a minority, because you're afraid of getting sued if you don't.
Well, you know, that is the present state of the law. If you discriminate, you can be sued. But we aren't talking discrimination. We're talking about an office set to do goals, to make sure that they're recruiting in the right places, to make sure that they don't have artificial barriers. That's all we're talking about. The sky is not falling. The sky is not falling since the Civil Rights Acts, and the sky is not falling now. This is a positive step for all of us who want to make sure that America
The Director of Office on Women and Minorities is supposed to have fair inclusion. That means each of these 29 directors can set their own rules.
No,
fair
that
inclusion
will be
for college
rules.
sports. For example, with college sports, fair inclusion is if there's 55% women, 55% of the varsity slots have to go to women, and they've been closing down men's sports teams.
But that's not true for Title VII.
It just says fair inclusion. It doesn't say anything about Title VII. It says fair inclusion of women and minorities.
The regulations have not yet been written. The regulations that will enforce this have not yet been written.
So they could mean quotas.
Final question. Let me do this a final question here.
The law, it cannot be quotas because quotas are against the law, and the law requires.
But they're not against the law with Title IX of the Civil Rights Act. That's how they're used in university sports.
We're short on time. It's a fact. I want to just get this one question in, though, Pam. If the perception ends up being that there is quotas, even if they're not a formal quota, that firms end up hiring some people who aren't as qualified because they're afraid of getting sued, doesn't that hurt all the qualified women and minorities out there?
Well, except that so far the qualified women and minorities have not not been hired. So now let's do something about that.
How do you know they haven't been hired?
I really don't, because the percentages...
All three of us have jobs, and I think we all think we're qualified.
I have the best job in the world, and I'm not on Wall Street.
African-American women hired in the Division of Enforcement at the SEC. Does that mean that I believe that the playing field was level for everyone that applied?
We have to hit pause here, ladies. Thank you very much. Three women having a passionate discussion about an issue we all no doubt care a lot about. Thanks so much, viewers. Let us know what you think, too. Street Signs at CNBC.com. Next.